YouTube, my name is Mike. I go by DJAXCESS. Welcome back to the channel. We aim to build a better DJ community together. Today, I'm back at Abercrombie & Fitch for the Challenge 2025. Post Malone is headlining and your boy is opening up doors. So if you find something helpful or interesting, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment with any questions you have down below about opening for a music festival or playing one. This is my third year here on top of other music festivals, so hopefully I'll be able to drop some knowledge for you. And of course, if you see any products that I'm using and you want to support the channel for free, there is an Amazon affiliate link in the description below. Now let's get into it. All right, so I just arrived on campus. It is 3 o'clock, so we still have an hour and a half until sound check. So we're gonna charge up everything that we have today. Tons of cameras, tons of recorders, everything to get the content we need to make sure we can do more of stuff like this and make sure I'm helping you guys whenever you have your first music festival show or when you're opening for a big name act. You know exactly what to do or what not to do depending on how this video goes. So like I said, we're going to charge up everything and then maybe I'll talk about what I did as far as content, prepping my set, and just making sure that I do my best and I make a great impression once again here at the challenge. Okay, now that I got everything charging, what I like to do is in my notes, every time I have a big show, I always make notes so that the next time I do a big show, I can be, okay, this worked, this didn't, make sure you watch out for this, make sure you give a little extra time for that, everything. So I looked at my notes from last year already, and one thing I didn't have was like all the things I was charging. So I almost forgot to charge my djembe mic, but luckily I remembered. So what I'm gonna do right now is now that we got everything charging, just take notes and say, okay, this needs to be charging, this needs to be charging, so that for next year, we're good to go. One thing I always talk about when it comes to big events is make sure you have your team. I know DJs are used to doing everything by themselves, the content, the music, the emceeing, everything. But if it's a big show and you want to get the content right, you really have to be focused on what you're doing, being the subject, being the music person, and you want to put people around you that can handle all the content stuff. So today, you guys should know AJ. AJ's always with me for weddings. And then new to the team is my boy Max. Max is the operator over at Goodnight John Boy. So if you ever had fun there, this is the guy that's responsible for that. So they're gonna be tag teaming video and photo, and I could not be happier that they're here. Appreciate you fellas. So it's not enough just to hire the right people, you have to give them the right direction. For instance, if I were to call up AJ, call up Max, and not give them any direction what I want, they could be giving me maybe not enough B-roll or not enough action shots of me, or maybe they don't know which side's my good side. You know, maybe they don't know that I don't like shots of me looking at my laptop. So I provided a shot list. This is something that I've been working on over the course of my large shows. Every time I get a really good photo or a photo I don't like, I say, hey, I don't like photos of this, or I say I really like photos of that. So they should know the basic idea of what I'm looking for, and then obviously I'm working with the same editor who knows exactly what I'm looking for when it comes to editing style. So how you put that all together is up to you, but I definitely recommend having at least one person responsible for your content so you can focus on being the subject and focus on the music and make sure you're putting your best foot forward. So I just want to talk a little bit about my music prep for this show. It's kind of interesting. I have an hour and 15 minutes, maybe up to an hour and 30, depending on whether the next band is ready, and I'm opening doors. What's unique about the challenge is with your ticket, you get free food and free drinks. So that first hour, as you walk in, there's the only other side stage. People usually stop there, and then food is way across from the main stage. So usually people grab food, they grab a drink, arrive late. So I usually don't have like a decent dancing crowd until 30, maybe even 45 minutes into my set. So I've planned for that, keeping it chill vibes in the beginning, disco-y, vibey, and then the next section is gonna be like disco and piano house, and then depending on which one of those does better, I'll end the set with either my high energy disco stuff or my high energy piano house set. So because I've done the challenge before, I start my playlist about a year out and I just start throwing tracks in there as I look through Spotify, as I download tracks from my record pools and stuff. Over the year, I kind of just figure out what genres I want to go for. So I shop at Abercrombie a decent amount. I really do appreciate that they have me here. So I try to support them by buying clothes there. I do like their style, which helps. And I'll see what they're playing in the store. And what I've noticed this year is it's a lot more Afro house. They still have their disco house, they still have their vibey stuff, but it's a lot more Afro house. So I had originally planned to do some Afro house in the beginning of the set, but based on the lineup and the fact that we're in New Albany, Ohio, I just didn't think it would really hit for anyone, and might be kind of a weird vibe to walk into. So that's why I decided to go with the vibey stuff that I'm kind of familiar with, and then wanted to go with disco house and piano house. Piano house is the style of music I would play as an artist, so I definitely wanted to feature that. And Abercrombie & Fitch loves disco music, and I think it's a really easy style of music for people to dance to. So if they are inclined to dance, disco should make them do that. So piano house and disco are going to be the focus, with some vibey stuff in the beginning. So finally, once I had my Spotify playlist and playlist in my iTunes of all the songs that I kind of want to play, I'll comb through it and say, okay, this is going to get into the playlist. Not, I'll order them, and then I'll do a practice set. As I'm doing the practice set, I'll see what mixes well, what doesn't, reorder things. And then once I'm done with that practice set, I'll run it one more time, same thing, let's adjust things, and then I'll just keep doing that until I feel like we're in a good spot. So that was about at 10 a.m. this morning, and I left my house at 12:30. So I'm getting pretty good at this, and again, it's a little bit easier to play as an artist when you know that there's not going to be a crowd in front of you for a decent amount of time. So I'm able to play for myself for that first part, but I do really struggle when perform a set as an artist. I've just been trained into the ground to just perform for the people in front of me. I try to leave my ego out of it and just make sure the people in front of me are having a great time. I credit a lot of that to my success, but it is a little bit challenging when someone says, "Do you?" and I have a crowd in front of me and I know what they want, but I'm supposed to do me, and that's the kind of battle that I have in my brain. So we'll see how that affects me tonight, but it should be all good. I'm really happy with my set. There's probably 4 songs that are in my absolute favorite songs ever playlist. So that'll keep me singing and entertained, and hopefully the people will dig it too. Tons of remixes, and I even made a remix of No Broke Boys just for this set, and I was actually impressed with myself. It took me about 10 minutes to do. I really just slapped. I was looking for something to mix it with because I wanted it in the set, and the second disco song that I pulled up matched perfect. I had a little bit of reverb on it, I took it off, a little bit of a side chain compressor, and it was done. So I'm looking forward to debuting that, and hopefully people will react to it. Okay, we're back in the lab after DJing for the ANF Challenge 2025. Big thank you to Abercrombie & Fitch for having me, my boy Ted Keys and his entire staff for being just awesome. The green room was great. We felt completely taken care of, and I had to dip out of there really, really fast. Went to my wedding. That went well, got there plenty of time. Dinner was still happening, and then DJ'd the wedding and then DJ'd the after party following. And I think that was, and then I had a wedding the next day over in Cincinnati. I had my assistant come, and I ended up staying in Cincinnati because I thought I was going to be more tired than I was, but it was actually pretty smooth weekend despite everything going on. So I wrote some notes, and by write, I mean what I've been doing lately is I will just set my phone to dictate mode on my notes app, and then I'll just talk in the car on the way home from the gig, and that's a good way to collect my thoughts. Great for these videos, great for blogs if you're wanting to do those. So here's what I wrote down. I know a lot of you have been talking about the industrial fan. I think I might have to find some room in the van for a fan. It was hot up there, and it wasn't even as hot as it could have been, and it was still hot. So definitely in some of the photos, I definitely had some tiny pit stains, even though I wore black. So an industrial fan, it might be going in the van after this. I had forgotten to give the front of house my visuals. Luckily, they had them from the previous year or from my press kit when I sent everything over, but it was on my checklist to make sure that they had that and it was ready to go, and I skipped it. So even the dude who writes the checklist sometimes ignores it. When my videographer arrived, it took a little bit longer to get him into the festival than I'd wanted to. I'd wanted him to come at 2:30, but he couldn't make it. He was doing something else. Couldn't make it till later, and then getting him in because of that took a little bit longer than I wanted to, which brings me to my next point. I'm definitely getting there 3 hours early, not 2.5 hours early. I'm getting there at 2 if I start at 5, because there's just so many things that I want to do, and I want to have time to relax, make content for you. So getting there at 2 instead of 2:30 is something that I also want to do for next year. Also, because of that time, I was putting my on-screen, I brought my Toadmatic video booth, and I was putting my on-screen images while I was playing my set. I think probably for the first 3 minutes, I was making sure that that was okay. That is unacceptable. That should have been loaded up ahead of time, and it wasn't. The other thing that kind of set us back was the stage hands, the truck that would lift up my booth to get onto the stage. The person who ran the truck and had the keys was nowhere to be found for a good 10 minutes, so that also put us back. My in-ear monitors, the wireless version by Samson, I'm getting rid of those. They're already on their way back to Sweetwater. I just don't think that they're ready for prime time. I was able to use them the next night, but again, that's in Cincinnati, and that's a different wireless environment than being in Columbus on a big stage with a number of other performers and, wireless going back and forth. So the Samsons were not good. I do not recommend them for a very, very professional setting. They were fine in Cincinnati once I bought the squelch up. A squelch is a setting that tells the microphone, the wireless, to ignore certain things. So if 2 frequencies are coming at it, it will ignore the one that's lower. The squelch is like a setting for that. So when I got the squelch settings set very, very specifically, they did work, but I can't be dealing with that. I need something that works all the time. So Samson's out, and I'm going with Sennheisers for my wireless in-ear monitors. My drum mic also was cutting out a little bit. When I watched it back in the video and on the recording, it didn't sound like it was as bad as I thought, but maybe it was a combination of the drum mic and my in-ears. But when I was drumming, I wasn't hearing myself in the drum. So the drum mic is also getting replaced. I went with a Shure SLXD 3.5 for my drum mic. The X5 by Insta360 continues to impress. My X4 last year overheated fairly quickly. My X5 ran the entire hour and 15 minutes that I was playing, didn't care, and I even had it running at 8K. So the X5 gets a big win, and that was sitting right in front of me. I did buy a little adapter to make sure it was lower because it kind of sat in a lot of my pictures. I was able to edit out in some of them, but it was definitely kind of an eyesore attached to my DJ booth. So I got a little adapter that's going to help me let it sit lower on the DJ booth. So the X5 is a big win. The Gorilla Pod that I had attached wasn't a loss, but I am going to upgrade that. And then I have to make sure that I bring waters with me on stage. Again, it was hot. In some of the photos, I could see my lips were pretty chapped, and also bringing chapstick on stage as well. And then, as I've said before, just arriving just that extra half an hour early to make sure I can get my content in and I can go through my entire checklist. Like, I have no idea where the 2 hours that I got there beforehand went. I know some of it went to my videographer. I know some of it went getting on stage, and some went to content. But it just, like, as soon as I got there, all of a sudden it seemed like I was getting ready to play. So those are my notes from the Abercrombie & Fitch Challenge and music festivals. So again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you want me to make another video on how I prep my set or anything like that, please do. And if you found something helpful or interesting, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if I mentioned a product that you want to check out, there's an Amazon affiliate link in the description. That is a free way for you to support the channel. Until next time, peace and practice. Thanks for making it to the end of the video.